The place is here and the time is now. Let's take it round for round. And people gather round. Let's see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved. Football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I show you my war face. No holds barred, so for your sake, you better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation. Online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one. You and me, ain't no fear in me. You will see. When it comes to this, you be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight, cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready, cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey. Burn 'em, fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
Episode of Legacy on Fire. Once again, we are so glad to have everybody with us for another one. Very excited, very excited. Today we do our AFC preview. Last week we got to knock out the NFC. Very intriguing going there with myself, Lamont, and James. This week we got the man, myth, and the legend, Mr. Robb Johnson, with us today. So Robb, Lamont, James, and myself ready to bring you the AFC preview. The AFC is absolutely loaded, ladies and gentlemen. So it is going to be a fun one to decipher through. So we're glad to be with you. Once again, we'd like to thank our Bowie television audience for joining us for our second show here on the station. Thank you for that. We're so glad to have you in. We hope everybody truly enjoyed last week's episode. And now let's go ahead and get into it. We got a lot to talk about. This one is AFC theme. Let's get it going. Let's go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and start off with one sentence. The first one that we're going to do in one sentence is the most underrated team in the AFC. Last week we had some very interesting answers, and so I'm intrigued to see what the answers are going to look like this week as we get ready for that. So here we go. Most underrated team in the AFC. We'll start this one off with James. James, man, who you got? Your one sentence on the most underrated team in the AFC.
My one sentence, man, would have to be beware the black and gold. I'm going with Pittsburgh, man. Steelers are the most underrated team in my perspective in the AFC. We're talking about a team where since Mike Tomlin's taken over, he's never had a losing season as a head coach, despite who's been at quarterback. They found a way to win games. I can remember back to the years when they had Duck Hodges out there at quarterback. They were still trotting off wins. This is a team where Kenny Pickett's stepping up in year 2. He's got weapons. He's got Najee Harris in the backfield. He's still got Deontay Johnson on the outside. George Pickens now in year 2. He's developing. The Steelers always seem to draft well as well, not to mention they still got that defense with T.J. Watt leading the way. Don't be surprised if we look up and the Steelers are not only competing for an AFC North championship, but possibly a crown in the AFC.
Intriguing. It's not a bad pick at all. Lamont, we head to you, sir. Your one sentence on the AFC team that will surprise this season.
My one sentence is going to be, in the words of J. Cole, the Ville is back. I'm thinking the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, they might be the most underrated to me in the AFC, and here's why. So, Doug Peterson, we said it before he even set foot on the field last year that he's a guy that has his team in line. We saw that last year. A lot of new things going on for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They still managed, to make it into the playoffs. When they made it into the playoffs, they came back and beat the Chargers, right, in that game, that crazy wild card game, right? And I think they only get better from here. Trevor Lawrence takes his next step. He's looking like a really good quarterback. Calvin Ridley is off the suspension. So, he adds to that dynamic group that they have in the skill positions when it comes to Christian Kirk, Etienne. You got Evan Ingram. They got a lot of good guys. So, I'm going Jacksonville Jaguars. Defense is still young. If those guys they drafted next year take the next step, just look out.
All right. We head to Rob Johnson. Rob, who's your what's your one sentence AFC team that will surprise this year?
All right, first of all, I'm very disappointed in both of you because your picks are just they're moi. I mean, you're talking about a surprise team. You're bringing up Pittsburgh. You're bringing up Jacksonville. I mean, we expect Jacksonville to win 8 or 9 games. You expect Pittsburgh to win 8 or 9 games. However, when you look at Kenny Pickett, I don't understand the hype, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny Pickett had 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions last year. Yes, he came on late. Yes, he had a good preseason. But let's just understand that the Pittsburgh Steelers, they go as much as Watt goes. If Watt gets hurt, they don't go anywhere. So I'm going to give you guys a team that nobody's talking about, and just give me a minute here. I'm talking about a guy who switched teams. Darrell, if you could put me back so I can look at the guys when I do this. I'm talking about a guy who won 53 games and only has lost 21 in his career. I'm talking about a guy who in his career has 87 touchdowns and 42 interceptions. He got switched from he left his team because his team didn't want him anymore. And that team is now in quarterback peril because if they get an injury, guess who their quarterback is? It's Sam Darnold. I'm talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm talking about the Las Vegas Raiders. Everybody, I guess people kind of went over or glossed over the fact of what the Raiders did last year. Last year, they lost to the Chargers by 5, lost to the Cardinals by 6 with Kyler Murray, lost to the Titans by 2, lost to Kansas City by 1. They got blown out by the Saints. They lost to Jaguars by 7, lost to the Colts by 5, lost to the Rams by 1 point, lost to Pittsburgh by 3, lost to the 49ers by 3. And they got blown up by Kansas City the last game of the season. Bottom line is, folks, you have a professional quarterback coming to Las Vegas. He's got Devontae Adams. He's got his running back. So I'm kind of disappointed in you guys when you talk about those two teams because we can expect them to possibly make a playoff run. But when you look at the Las Vegas Raiders and you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, he's getting back with his coach from New England, which a lot of people aren't talking about, that is the team you're going to have to watch.
And Josh Jacobs freshly signed.
They're running back, Josh Jacobs.
So Josh Jacobs freshly signed there. So interesting. So we got Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and the Raiders as the surprise teams out of the AFC. Now it's time to figure out about that disappointing team. Now the question now really lies. Now last year my pick was Baltimore, but they proved me somewhat wrong and they made the playoffs. And then they did proceed to lose there. But by all means, they definitely made me look bad. So I'm not even going to get into that too deep. But this year, I want to know the AFC team that will disappoint this season. And we're going to go in reverse order. So, Rob, we'll go ahead and start with you. What's that AFC team, sir, that is going to disappoint this season?
And if you could leave everybody up, I want everybody to put up either 0 or 1 for me. How many championships has Andy Reid won without Eric Bieniemy? The Kansas City Chiefs will be the most disappointing team. Too many injuries. As you see today, Travis Kelce is hurt. He's 33, 34 years old. His body is, if he was 27, I could see. The biggest thing that I don't think a lot of people are taking into account, I get it, it's the quarterback. It's flashy. Chris Jones is not back yet. He's willing to hold out to week 8. And I just talked about the Raiders. The Broncos are going to be better, in my opinion, and the Chargers are going to be better. The Chiefs are due to have a bad season. The Chiefs are due for them to slip a little bit. Not saying they won't make the playoffs, but they possibly could miss the playoffs. I think Patrick Mahomes will still have a great year, but you can only miss so many weapons so many times. Losing Juju Smith-Schuster was huge. Can Kadarius Toney stay healthy? Can he? If he can't, then what do you have? So, I mean, I just think people are overlooking the thing about Kansas City. I think they're going to take a slip this year.
All right, the slip in Kansas City. Lamont, one sentence, your AFC team that will disappoint this season.
I like to talk, symbolically. So my one sentence comes from the old show Miami Vice, right? And at one point he said, I got these occasional urges for stability in my life. And I feel like that's the Miami Dolphins, right? The Miami Dolphins have years, their division has been ran by the Patriots, bullied by the Patriots. the Patriots finally come down off the dynasty, and what do you know? The Buffalo Bills are now the runaway with this division, right? They've been dominating the division for a few years. And just when it seems like the Miami Dolphins take a few strides, to get back in there, here come the Jets, right? With Aaron Rodgers and all these weapons around them. And it just seems like every time the Dolphins take a step forward, right, the whole division takes two more steps forward. And I just feel like, as good as they are, I could still see them slipping past what they were last year. The Jets making so many moves. The division has to play the entire NFC East and the entire AFC West this year. Rob just talked about the AFC West. A lot of those teams are taking steps forward. The schedule is not favorable. Both of those divisions have two teams in that division that made the playoffs last year, and they're only getting better. I feel like the Dolphins take a step back this year.
So Chiefs and Dolphins so far. James, where do you go on this one? Which AFC team will disappoint this season?
I mean, it might be low-hanging fruit, but my one sentence is going to be failure to launch. And I'm going with the New York Jets. I do not believe that this is going to be the year that they get it done. I know they've made all the moves in the offseason. They pretty much won the offseason with trading for Aaron Rodgers, bringing along Randall Cobb, all the moves they've made. Yes, you won the offseason. You look good on Hard Knocks. Yes, Breece Hall is back. You added a Dalvin Cook. You got Quentin Williams under contract. But I mean, I have to see it. Like, this is the New York Jets still we're talking about. This is a team who hasn't won anything in years. I think the last time they won a division championship or division titles back in 2002. We got to wait and see it. I'm not giving them anything at this point based off merit of guys years past. I think the Jets have to go out there. They have to earn it. And I just don't see it happening this year. Aaron Rodgers is definitely getting older. He's not getting younger. And we've only seen one quarterback statistically play well at age 40 and beyond, and that's Tom Brady. Not to mention, who's going to protect him? The offensive line is not the best unit on this team. They're one injury away from it being a makeshift offensive line of just paper-mache guys, and even still, it may not be enough. Aaron Rodgers is not going to sit back there to try to take hits, extend the plays, to make shots downfield. He's going to be looking to get it out quick and fast, and if the line can't hold up, the Jets won't be doing anything this year, so we'll just have to wait and see.
There it is. So we got Dolphins, Jets, and Chiefs as the most disappointing teams in the AFC. Yes, Rob.
Yeah, real quick. Last time we saw Aaron Rodgers, what was happening to him? He was getting beat up by the Lions.
Yeah.
Last time we saw the Miami Dolphins, they were winning a game where they lost the game 36-33 in the playoffs with a guy named
backup.
With a backup.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins aren't going to disappoint. I think they got things handled.
Intriguing.
They signed Jalen Ramsey. He has a full meniscus tear. They got to wait till he gets back. I still don't forgive them for getting rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick because they don't have a player of his caliber to this day. Minkah Fitzpatrick is special. He's been special on that Pittsburgh team. So I feel like they have players every year.
They have Chubb. They have Chubb that's going to come around the edge. So when you have an edge rush like that, your secondary will be able to make some plays, and you have a track team on offense, literally.
So we will see. And see, that's the thing. The Dolphins are intriguing to me too as well. I will say this before we move on. The thing about the Dolphins that kind of blow my mind, like last year when Tua was healthy, we saw what they could be. We saw what they could be when Tua is healthy. When he's not healthy, it was like, whoa. And they still somehow made the playoffs. But that's how great they played at the beginning of the season. They're going to be probably the most intriguing team as we head into this season. That AFC East is going to be a monster.
And they were terrible against the pass last year, too.
Terrible against the pass. All right, let's go ahead and head over to the Fire Starters, where this time we are going to give you our division predictions. Let's get it. AFC South. Now, last year, most people, the AFC South had a little bit of a rough run last year. Let's just be honest. And so now the Jaguars, they come above. They win the division. The Titans have been the stalwart for a couple of years. The Jaguars beat them to get into the playoffs. The Colts fell off. The Texans are the Texans. So let's go ahead and get into it. AFC predictions. I'm very intrigued to see where you guys stand on this. Lamont, I'm going to start with you first. where do you see the AFC South going? What are your predictions for the AFC South?
Well, I mean, like you said, last year they were one of the worst divisions in football. So I think that they have to try to climb back in it. I got Jacksonville 11-6, Titans 8-9, Colts 6-10, Texans 4-13. I think that those bottom two teams, especially, really have a lot to figure out in these next 2 years if they want to be amid the top teams in the AFC.
All right. James, we're going to head to you on AFC South predictions, man. Where do you see this division going? Where do you think everything kind of pans out?
Man, I think this might be one of the easier divisions. We're going to have Jacksonville taking it off, winning the division. Trevor Lawrence is coming to his own. They've added the pieces on offense. The defense is still coming along. But I think the division as a whole is weak enough to where, they can kind of ride that weak defense for another year or two to get a division title. Jacksonville takes the number 1 spot. Second, I got the Tennessee Titans. Titans will still be a tough out behind Derrick Henry. I know he's pretty much their franchise player. The team goes as he goes, but he's still been consistent. I think he'll battle back. He'll have him in the mix, but him alone, I don't think it'll be enough, especially with the lack of passing game that they have in Tennessee. If they can get him some help on the outside with someone for Tannehill to throw to, maybe they got a chance, but I got Tennessee coming in second. I think, surprisingly, the Colts will be third. A lot of it, I think, will be based off just the athleticism we'll see from Anthony Richardson, along with the young head coach and Shane Steichen. Everywhere Steichen has been, the quarterback play has elevated and gotten better for that quarterback. He did it with Justin Herbert. He did it with Jalen Hurts. Now he's about to do it with Anthony Richardson. I look for the Colts to take third in the division. And the Texans are the Texans. I do have them coming in fourth. They'll be in contention for the Caleb Williams Award. But the thing is, they won't even have their own pick to select him or anybody else in the top 5 or 10 because they don't have their pick. Arizona does. So, I feel like, they'll get a W for the Cardinals in the offseason by coming in fourth.
All right, Rob, we head to you, AFC South. Where do you see this thing going, brother?
First of all, Caleb Williams isn't even the best quarterback. It's Michael Penix Jr. from Washington, but we'll talk about that another day. Talking about the AFC South, correct? We're talking about the AFC South.
AFC South.
Let me ask you guys a question. If I can see you guys on the screen again. Did the Jacksonville Jaguars have 13 wins last year? Did they have 12? No. It's a rhetorical question. 11, 10, 9? No. They ended the regular season with 8 wins. The Tennessee Titans lost to the Giants by 1, right? They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs by 3. They lost to the Bengals by 4. And they lost to the Chargers by 3. Texans by 5. And the Jaguars to end the season 20-16. By the way, Ryan Tannehill wasn't there. Ryan Tannehill has proven that when he's there, they play better football. Also, it's also been proven that the Tennessee Titans, even though I criticized them in the offseason, DeAndre Hopkins is going to get a lot of one-on-one looks this year. All right? The Titans are going to win this division. I don't care about ordering and that stuff. I'll just give you the winner. The Tennessee Titans will win this division. They're the better team than Jacksonville Jaguars. If the Jaguars are winning 10, 11, 12 games last few years, I could give that to you. But this came down to the last game of division, and the Titans barely lost with their backup quarterback, who is now in Arizona. So I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are getting way too much credit, folks. Trevor Lawrence is great, but that team is getting way too much credit.
All right. So very interesting there. So Rob going with the Titans, Lamont and James go with Jacksonville to win the AFC South. Now we head north and we head to the AFC North. Now the AFC North is going to be another tough division. I mean, the whole conference is tough, but we got the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Steelers. James, I'm going to start with you on this one. Who wins the AFC North?
Okay, so I think the Bengals will get it done. We don't know if Burrow's going to start the season, but we know he'll be back soon. Pretty much when he's under center for the Bengals, they've been able to get the job done so much as far as wins, putting up numbers, all that. They still have Chase. T. Higgins is playing for a contract. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, they'll win the AFC North. I think second will be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Third, I have the Baltimore Ravens. We know they're having a new offense with Lamar being installed this offseason. We'll see what Monken can do. We'll see if, the passing game improves for Lamar and the Ravens. If not, I think they want to close third in the division. And I have the Browns right now in fourth.
That's actually intriguing to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't expect the Ravens to be third, but
I mean, it's tough in the AFC North, man.
it is really tough in the
It's going
AFC
to come
North.
down to some field goals and some turnovers.
All right, Rob, we're gonna head to you next, man. What do you got in the AFC North, brother?
Before Week 10 last year, if you guys remember, the Bengals were 5-4. The Bengals are a very good football team. But again, there is a team that everybody's overlooking, a team that's going to be fully healthy, that has a quarterback who had 15,641 yards, 111 touchdowns, 41 interceptions in his career. He's coming back. He had a full off season. He played last we saw him play with another team. He was playing with the god awful Houston Texans, and he still put up almost 5,000. The Cleveland Browns will win this division. The Cleveland Browns are the best team in this division, next to the Baltimore Ravens, then the Cincinnati Bengals, and then we have the overrated Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? It's almost like in this division, it's I'm gonna say it's. You can almost pick somebody and make a really strong case, I think, for each team.
I want you to think about 2019. Think about 2019 and think about that Deshaun Watson on that Houston team on the Browns. He's rested. You get one of the better quarterbacks we've seen, top 5 when he left the game. A lot of this craziness going on in the media, I think this man has a lot to prove. You were at the press conference last year, Darrell.
Yes.
You saw Demir. We saw this Browns team up close and personal, what they are capable of. They knocked out a team that was going to the playoffs who decided to play the next week when the game was irrelevant.
Well, it's funny, Rob, that you say that. We talked at that game, and I remember the conversation, and I remember telling you, I said, hey, man, if Deshaun Watson plays like this next year and he starts to feel it, watch out NFL, because I feel like he's still a young guy. Deshaun Watson like 27, 28 years old. He still has a lot. As long as he can click, he still got a lot of football left.
It reminds you, the Browns did beat the Bengals 32-13 last year, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Lamont, we're heading to you next, brother. AFC North, where do you got this thing going?
Mine is pretty close with James. I do have the Bengals winning the division. They about, to me, far and away have the better quarterback. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in that division. Joe Burrow is the guy. He has proved it since he stepped into the league. I'm going with the Bengals. Second, I actually think the Ravens and the Steelers will be as close can be. I got them sharing a record probably around 9-8, canceling each other out, and really being right there in the race. As we know, the North is so thick with talent. And I do have the Cleveland Browns coming in last because, as great of a point as Rob made, the things that they don't have this year that they had in 2019 were leaders, right? We haven't seen good coaching from the Browns in forever, right? It's jury's still out, right? Like, who's going to lead this team? As you mentioned, Darrell, Deshaun Watson is young. He's still young. The guys they're playing against, Tomlins, right? The Baltimore Ravens, right? These guys are established leaders, and the Browns need that to compete in this division. Until they do, they will be last, to me.
Intriguing. Rob, what you got on that, brother?
Last time I checked, the Cleveland Browns had a guy named Baker Mayfield, took them to the playoffs. And if it hadn't been for choking against Chad Henne, they'd been the AFC Championship game. You try and tell me that Deshaun Watson is not better than Baker Mayfield?
What did he do last year?
And no, first of all, Kenny Pickett has 7 touchdowns and 9.
Right?
Kenny Pickett has 7 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. And you all believe in a Kenny Pickett? Come on, man. I understand that Pittsburgh has a tradition, but come on, guys.
What was the Steelers' record last year?
The Steelers like 9 and
9-8.
Right. So they
but how many games did Watson miss?
Let's go.
How many games did Watson miss?
Watt missed 9 games.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, you said Watson or Watt? Watt missed 9. Watson. They still won 7 without
Watson
missed 13.
That, listen.
But he didn't play till like week 13 though.
When we get to the season and everybody eats crow and we got people on speak on television, it's like, I thought Deshaun Watson was gonna suck. Okay, we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see. I'll give you my phone number. You can text me. You can email me.
I will say, if that comes true, Rob's gonna be serving a whole lot of crow to different people. I hope he's got a crow man on speed dial.
Not a crow man on speed dial.
I've been serving crow since I got out the womb. So yes, thank you.
That's crow bar to open that box of magic.
You know what? All right, let's head on to the AFC West. Another division that we talked about a little earlier that is going to be a very tough division. You got the defending Super Bowl champions in there. You got Russell Wilson and the Broncos who are looking to resurge this year. You got Justin Herbert, who finally made the playoffs last year. And you got a Raiders team, as Rob talked about earlier, has a Jimmy Garoppolo who's been to a Super Bowl and knows his stuff. And he's got Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs, who led the league last year in rushing. So now that we head to the AFC West, James, I'll start with you, brother, on this one. Where do you see the AFC West going?
AFC West, I think things will stay consistent, the same they've been a few years. I got the Kansas City Chiefs in first. I know Chris Jones is out. They're having a tough time getting him under contract. Patrick Mahomes is still there. Yes, Kelsey hyperextended the knee today, but we've seen Andy Reid is able to scheme up offensive openings for different guys in different ways. It'll be a short-term fix. If Kelsey is out, put a Band-Aid on it. This offense will still chug. So long as the defense holds up, and I believe in Spagnuolo having enough scheme in his bag to make sure that happens, Kansas City will be fine. They will win this division. Not to mention, Patrick Mahomes is still undefeated on the road in this division. He beats everybody in his division pretty much. So long as that's the case, the Chiefs are going to win this division. I do have the Chargers in second. Justin Herbert, another year developing. We'll see what it does now, him having Kellen Moore as his OC. But really what it's going to come down to is coaching decisions from Brandon Staley. We saw last year this team made the playoffs. They had a 20-point lead, and then they choked it on the road in Jacksonville. If he has another year like that, best believe he'll be packing his bags, and either Moore will be taken over or there'll be a new guy in the head seat. But I have the Chargers coming in second. I think the Broncos will take third in the division behind a new resurgence in Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. He'll be looking to rebound. Payton is going to get everything in order. He shut the office down. He's got Russ on the page. He's got him losing weight. They added a kicker to help win these close games. Broncos will take third. And I know Robb's surprise team is going to be the Raiders. I don't believe in the Raiders. We haven't seen Josh McDaniels win anything since he got busted recording tape from people. And he had Tebow from the one miracle game. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't played a whole season since 2019. I don't know how you can count on that. Yes, they have Adams. Yes, they still have Jacobs. But if there's no quarterback there to get them the ball, what does it matter? And I know the kid in the preseason, O'Connell, I know he looked good in preseason, but he's still a rookie. He'll hit the wall if he does play. But I just don't believe in the Raiders, man. They'll find some way, somehow, they'll blow it.
All right, Rob, you were mentioned there, so we're going to swing to you. AFC West predictions, sir.
Raiders.
And he's doubling down on it.
He's doubling down on the Raiders, baby.
Listen,
All right, so
listen.
go ahead. Go
Is it because crows are black and the Raiders wear black uniforms? Is that why you're doing this?
No, I'm dead serious. Dead serious. I think because Kansas City, think about this. Remember Andy Reid when he was a play caller that was inconsistent, couldn't get things done. He gave up that 1,000-0 lead against the Indianapolis Colts in the playoffs once upon a time, which everybody forgets about when he had Alex Smith. I know everybody forgets about that. He started getting better when what? Eric Bieniemy came. Eric Bieniemy is like that guy at the job that does all the work and never gets any credit. Eric Bieniemy is like that guy in the mailroom who does all the work but never gets any credit. But then all of a sudden he leaves and everything goes to crap. That's what's going to happen in Kansas City. Okay? I'm sick of this man not getting the respect he deserves. Number two, last time we saw the LA Chargers, what happened? 27-0. Do you actually trust the Chargers? I haven't trusted Chargers since 1994.
Good God.
Literally. Because they got on national TV against the San Francisco 49ers and that atrocity. This is the same team who had LaDainian Tomlinson. They had Rivers. They were 14-2, and what they do? They went to bed, right?
Yep.
And who's the last team in the division? The Denver Broncos. I don't trust Sean Payton because I think Sean Payton wants Russell Wilson out. There was a quote today saying, "Stop kissing all the babies. You're not running for political office." Don't be mad at – listen, don't be mad at Russell Wilson because he's a good guy. I don't see Russell Wilson here targeting players and giving up long 70-yard touchdowns at the end of the game like you did, which nobody gives you the blame for because you're Sean Payton and you kiss a whole lot of you-know-what. The Las Vegas Raiders are a good football team. Jimmy Garoppolo wins everywhere he goes. And I fumbled with this decision a lot today, guys. But Jimmy Garoppolo, where he goes, he wins. The proof is in the pudding. Go watch what he did with San Francisco when they were like 1-11. They were horrible. Jimmy Garoppolo pulled a miracle out of his tail. Jimmy Garoppolo wins wherever he goes. I got the Raiders winning this division, winning 10 games. Thank you.
That's gonna be interesting, especially. I mean, if he can stay healthy, we know what Jimmy G can do. So we will see.
And I read you the stats. Eventually, every dynasty falls. Ask Clemson.
Oh yeah, Clemson had a rough night. Clemson had a rough night. Lamont, we head to you. AFC South predictions. What we got?
We're in the AFC West, right?
My fault. AFC West, my fault. AFC West is correct.
I know this division well and more than most. The Kansas City Chiefs for the past 7 years, have been Debo to this division. They are the bullies. They are it. They are them. All right. They will be in first in this division because the bully gang that they still troll the streets with are still there, and that's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. The second team I have is the Chargers. I think that what they have going for them is something that the other teams below them are trying to acquire. So even though I do think that Justin Herbert gets a lot more credit than he deserves, because he is still yet to win a playoff game. That has not happened. And when you're putting him in top 5 of quarterbacks, I'm looking around like you gotta do more than that. The third place, I do have the Denver Broncos there. I do think that, the biggest thing for them is losing that defensive coordinator. Evero is out, and he's been excellent and probably the most consistent thing that the Denver Broncos have had in past few years, but he is gone. So Vance Joseph takes over the reins, and we'll see what that looks like. And he's been left a good group, but I'm still concerned about people running the ball on them, because honestly, I can see it. And lastly, but not least, the Las Vegas Raiders, who I don't know when's the last time I can tell you they did something right, to be honest. Josh McDaniels is there. We've seen him within this division take over a team and run them into the ground. You have a guy in Jimmy G who, I feel like if he's able to be a decent quarterback, in the Super Bowl, he wins a championship. And honestly, the only thing and the only reason why he's been there and been successful in the 49ers is because we all know the defense runs that team. The defense has always ran the San Francisco 49ers, and he's always had to be a game manager for them to win games. And that's what they've been. And I feel like this is not a team where you don't have that luxury. You don't have a defense to rely on. Not like the 49ers. And in this brutal division, this brutal conference, they have some things to figure out. And the Las Vegas Raiders will be last.
All right. So we got 2 Chiefs and we got a Raider. Rob.
Didn't Josh McDaniels help get what was the guy named Castle? He won like 11 games for him, right? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, what happened after that?
Yeah, but I get
different
it.
League, different time. There was a mastermind at HC.
I'm just saying,
there was a mastermind on the other side of the ball too.
He left right to get bigger money, right? And where have the Patriots' offense been since Josh McDaniels left? Okay, we can move on.
Where's Josh McDaniels been since he left the Patriots?
Oh, you'll find out this season, sir.
Oh yeah, in the trash.
In the trash.
I just read you their record. I just read you how close games they had last year. And now they actually have a professional quarterback who doesn't sound like Marv from Home Alone crying in the post game. They got a man in there who's a chick medic who's got confidence. So check this out. They're going to win games.
I didn't know we counted those.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you something. If you're a chick medic,
we almost won a
you
Super
got
Bowl.
confidence. You got some confidence. I don't see no confidence in Derek Carr.
That was a close loss.
What kind of confidence do you see in Derek Carr coming in the post game sound like Marv from Home Alone crying like he's emotional? I don't know what we're gonna do today. Jimmy Garoppolo exudes confidence.
Just win, baby.
Miss me with that.
Is that why he gets hurt all the time? He needs to keep in some confidence.
Well, last time I checked, if it hadn't been for he was one missed throw away from beating your Kansas City Chiefs.
That's what he hasn't done. Just win.
Another almost for the Raiders.
That's all I got.
He was in the Super Bowl, right?
All right.
I mean, a lot of people been in the Super Bowl, dog.
All
Rex
right.
Grossman made a Super Bowl.
Wow, there it is. Rex Grossman.
Okay.
So that is it for the AFC West. 2 Chiefs, 1 Raider, and now we head
Destroying
to
these guys, man.
now we head to the AFC East. The AFC East, which a lot of people think is going to be the toughest division in maybe the toughest division in football, definitely the toughest division in the AFC. So I'm gonna go with Lamont first. Lamont, where do you think here in this AFC East, man? Like, who is going to win the AFC East? It's going to be a tough one.
I think there's going to be a lot of roller coasters in this division, to be honest. But I still think the Buffalo Bills will get it done. I mean, I feel like it's going to be hard to stop them on a consistent basis, and we've seen them get up there and not come through. We've seen them have their woes, but they still come out on top for most of the time until they get to these elite teams, and that's a different nightmare they have to slay. But I'm going Buffalo Bills. Secondly, I do think that even though I said the Miami Dolphins, could have a step back, I think that they're the most consistent team other than the Bills in this division. And with that being said, they're building something out there, and I think that they'll be second. I do think that it'll be close, but I think that towards the end of the season, I think they're going to be playing their best football, and it'll allow them to rally and win some games. I have the New York Jets in third. With all the moves that they've made, all the skill positions, you got adding Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, all the stuff that James talked about earlier. I do think that they'll be third. I think that they still have some more work to do, and I think that the defense may get a little weary. I'll say that because, like he said, outside of Quinnen Williams, not so sure. And lastly, but not least, I got the Patriots. I just think that they've got a lot to be desired. I mean, you can't really ever count Bill out, but Bill needs some help. We still are looking for the marquee guys that are going to turn this program around. And until we see it on a consistent basis, they will be last in this division full of juggernauts.
All right. So, Rob, I'm going to head to you next. AFC East predictions. Where do you see this thing landing, brother?
We've seen the Jets in the past get a Brett Favre. We've seen them do different things, and they haven't been successful. When it comes to the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen has the ability to get hurt at the worst times. I'm kind of nervous about that. When it comes to the Patriots, I just think Bill Belichick wants Mac Jones out the door. I don't think that was his pick. I think that the owner made that pick. So my prediction is the Miami Dolphins. They're fast on both sides of the football. They're a very good football team. And I know it's going to, contend on if Tua stays healthy. But people talk about the snow and the weather. Last I checked, they went to Buffalo twice, and it was a close game. Great game. They barely lost with Skylar Thompson. So when Tua stays healthy this year, I think they're going to cook up some schemes to keep him healthy. I think the Dolphins win this division.
All right, so we got Bills and Dolphins. James, where do you go with the AFC East?
All right, so the AFC East, I'm going to go from worst to first. And fourth, I got the Jets, man. Like I said earlier, I do not believe in the hype. I do not think the Jets are going to get it done. I think it's going to be a year of growing pains for them. I have them coming in fourth in the division, mainly due in part because the team in third, they always seem to really lose to. That's the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick finds a way year in and year out to beat the Jets. I feel like he does it again this year, and that's what keeps the Jets in the cellar in the AFC East versus third. In second place, I have the Buffalo Bills coming in second. The Bills have been on a great run. Allen has looked phenomenal at times, but we saw last year that when he lost his offensive coordinator and Brian Dable, that offense, along with his game, took a step back. We saw him have more roller coaster spikes throughout the season, where some weeks he looked phenomenal, like an MVP candidate, and then there was other weeks where it was just like, who the hell is he throwing to? So we could see Allen have another year like that, along with the frustration from Stephon Diggs. Does he want to be there? Does he want out? Is it his contract? Is it the touches? No one knows. Who knows if Stephon even knows at this point? Because we can't get anything out of him. It's all riddles. It's all scheme. Who knows what he wants? Von Miller, they paid a lot of money to last offseason. He's now starting the season on the PUP list, so he's gone at least the first 4 games of the season. So that was a huge threat for them coming off the edge on the defensive side. We have no idea what it's going to look like now. They lost Tremaine Edmonds. they have a lot to make up for, I believe, this coming season. And that's all before that Josh Allen bill comes due next season. So for Buffalo, I think there's a lot riding for them this year, and the pressure's a bit too much. They end up in second. And I do have the Miami Dolphins winning this division this year. We know Miami has a track team on offense that's led by Tua Tagovailoa, and it's winning season for Tua. It's time to make the money to get him that contract. Yes, he had the concussion issues last season. He took his jiu-jitsu in the off season. He learned how to fall. He learned how to take sacks. That's all good. That's all fine and dandy. It's time to get paid, though, if you're Tua Tagovailoa. And we've seen in recent years in the NFL, when it's money time for guys, oh, they put up numbers. They do big. Not to mention, he has an offensive coach that schemes it up great, whether it's running or throwing the ball for him on offense. Mike McDaniel is going to be the reason the Dolphins predominantly win this AFC East division. Not to mention the guy they got in the offseason, Jalen Ramsey. A lot of people are saying that's a big loss for the Dolphins. Guess what? He's coming back when you need your team to be healthy. December, playoff time. He's coming back to help you get over the hump, not help you get to the top of the hill. He's coming back to help you get over the hill. That's going to be a piece they add late in the season that helps put the icing on the cake, man. So I got the Dolphins taking this division, whether Tua stays healthy or not, because we've seen McDaniel do it with a few different quarterbacks now, like his predecessor, Kyle Shanahan. So I got the Dolphins, man.
I actually agree with Rob and James. I also have the Dolphins. I believe in the Dolphins when they come to this division. I think this might be crazy. I think they might win 14 games, but that's just me. Rob.
Oh, James, great soliloquy, by the way. Couple things that were missed out on that. Missed out as well. Remember, the Buffalo Bills don't have Leslie Frazier this year. Leslie Frazier was a big thing for that team. And what I was going to say something else. Oh, we mentioned everybody keeps talking about Dak Prescott. Remember we did that show, guys, about the cap hit for the Buffalo Bills next year?
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. It's huge. They got a lot of money on the book. This defense is older. We don't know if Diggs is going to have a meltdown somewhere in the season. And when it comes to the Dolphins, man, they got a team. They got a team.
Yeah, I feel you on that. There's something about the Dolphins. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know. They just feel right.
Coaching matters, folks. Just ask Colorado.
I got to see this defense perform because I think in the past few years, their method for defense has been sign some names and throw them in there. That's literally been their game, and I haven't seen it work out for them yet. Now, do they have the players? Absolutely.
They got the coaching too. Who's their DC? You know him. You know. Hey, what'd he do for you?
Hey, what'd he do for you?
Hey,
I ain't gonna lie.
Hey,
I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, you know what he got. You know what he can do.
You know.
You seen it firsthand.
I need to see it.
All right, there it is, y'all. So we got 3 Dolphins.
Stay tuned.
We got 3 Dolphins and the Bills sitting there. And there it is. There's our AFC division predictions. But now it is time to head on to the main flame. It is time to find out who these gentlemen think will win the AFC. Winning the AFC, Rob, I'm going to start with you. Who is going to win the AFC this year? In my heart, I know it's not going to be the Chiefs. I know you're not going that direction.
Who? Say it again.
It's not going to be the Chiefs. Where you going, Rob?
Well, first of all, let me say this. Even though people think I diss Pittsburgh, I think the AFC North is going to have all 4 teams in the playoffs. Right? That's how good I think the division is going to be. So, and the AFC winner is going to come out of the AFC North, but it ain't going to be the Bengals. The AFC Championship game is going to be. It's going to be, how can I put this? Karma. Well, not karma too much, but it's going to be a game that's going to be heated all week. It's going to be people fighting in the stands. It's going to be a lot of cursing on the radio. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this word, and when I say this word, you guys know where I'm going to. Mayflower. In the middle of the night. The AFC Championship game will be Baltimore at Cleveland.
Oh, man.
The Baltimore Ravens will beat the Cleveland Browns to go to the Super Bowl, where they will face the Philadelphia Eagles. Wow.
You know what? Here's the thing. A lot of people are very excited about the Ravens. mostly because they feel like their team chemistry is at a high.
Let me say this. Let me say this. You know what the Ravens remind me of? And I said this years ago. People laughed at me because people always laugh at me. Then I'd make them look foolish. I said that Lamar Jackson reminded me of Randall Cunningham. Don't be shocked if the Baltimore Ravens look like the '98 Vikings this year. Because they got weapons, folks. And that guy, Zay Flowers, I know everybody likes to talk about the preseason game against the Commanders. Zay Flowers owned them. You were there. You saw it.
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
With the starters in, he owned them.
Zay Flowers is going to be special. Yeah. I've been telling people, if you're going, especially if you're thinking fantasy, if he's there late, grab him, because him and Lamar are already starting to connect. And Odell's just going to be a distraction for him as Zay Flowers takes off. So watch out.
You're wrong about that.
You don't think so?
No. You're wrong about that one. Odell Beckham Jr. is about to put the league back on notice again. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be crazy this year.
Here's the thing, Rob. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but I think people are going to be so focused on Odell, they're going to forget about Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is going to take full advantage of that situation.
You also got a guy named Rashad Bateman, who I told the Giants to draft, if you remember. But they got Tony, and all of a sudden, Tony goes to the Chiefs, and he's all of a sudden he can play receiver again. But go ahead,
Lamont, we're gonna Lamont, we head to you. Who's gonna win the AFC, brother?
All right. Well, because I did the records when I did this, I of course had my seeding in the playoffs. So I have Bengals and Steelers in the first round. I chose the Bengals. Jaguars and Chargers, part 2. Jags win because the Chargers just forget how to play football and after the regular season. Chiefs and that's the second round. But I got Bengals and Bills. I went with the Bengals on that. Just think Joe Burrow is just that guy. When it's that time, he delivers every time. Not to mention he wins on the road, and I think that they could have a home game this year. Then I have the Chiefs playing the Jags. Took the Chiefs. I think the Bengals will beat. I think the first round, I think I had Bills and Dolphins. I think I had the Bills taking it. And that would leave the Bills playing against the Bengals in the second round. I got the Bengals. And then I have the Bengals knocking off the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. And I have the Bengals and going to another Super Bowl.
There it is. All right. So far we're looking at the Bengals. Sitting in there pretty. We got the Ravens. So far, as Rob said, the AFC North is reigning supreme. So okay, James, will James feel the same way? James, who's going to win the AFC? Go ahead and say the Browns, James. Look.
I like what LT had cooking over there. He had a solid layer, great foundation. He got the top part of the cake wrong, though. He got the Bengals right with getting there. But I got them coming up short against the Miami Dolphins. This is going to be a matchup of the 2019 quarterback drafts. Okay. I feel like Stephen Ross faces the guy he wanted in Joe Burrow. And Tua Tagovailoa, the guy he ended up with, ends up getting him to a Super Bowl, and they beat the Bengals this year. I definitely think that Miami has the talent. They have the coaching. And like I said, you get Jalen Ramsey back at the opportune time of the season when you need the squad to be healthy. That is a piece you can add to help that Miami defense. Now, I know the last time we saw Ramsey match up with Chase won that matchup. You don't think Jalen's chomping at the bit to get back at that? You don't think Jalen Ramsey is waiting? You don't think he would have that circled? Another chance to take on Jamar Chase and stuff? Bro, that was fluke. You don't think Jalen Ramsey wants that challenge, man?
Man, look.
AFC crown this year.
I don't dislike that choice.
If the Chiefs don't get Chris Jones back, because guess what? The Dolphins will have that pass rush. They'll have the coverage guys. Tyreek Hill. We know he's got playoff experience. We know he knows how to win a championship. Miami, man, they got the pieces. They got the coaching.
Look, the last time they faced each other in the playoffs was the Dolphins won 34-16, 12-23, 73.
Man,
I do
12-23, 73.
I do quick stats.
Man, I was -11, baby. What's up? Let's get it. Let's get it.
I was a huge afterthought.
They can subtract the 3, go back. You said 73, right?
1973, man. Not
Yeah,
18.
I was negative 11. I was
Listen,
negative 11.
listen. Not 1873.
Boy, ain't that old.
Because we would just be getting out of war, and I think we still didn't have to, go through the underground. So no, ain't no 1873. Dog.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right, everybody, that is it. Those are your AFC winners. Robb taking the Ravens. Robb taking the Ravens. Lamonte taking the Bengals, and James taking the Dolphins. I guess I'll be the guy. And I don't know. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. And I feel like you got to because you got to beat you got to beat. You got to look like what Ric Flair said. You got in order to beat the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, they haven't done anything to me to prove that they can't win it again. So I'm going with them. James definitely didn't like my NFC pick last week. I picked the Saints.
Do y'all remember what I sent you the other night? Do y'all remember what I sent you when NFL had that fake script where they wrote the Kansas City Chiefs out the playoffs? I'm just saying, man, something about that is just strange to me. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's the reason they're going to miss the playoffs or anything, but I'm just saying, man, like something about the Chiefs coming this year. This Chris Jones thing don't feel good to me, and I think that's under the radar. I think that he's such an important part to that defense, man. Like he is so critical.
Yeah, I think he is their defense.
It's like Michael Parsons not playing for the Cowboys week 1. They go from a top 5 to the 25th ranked defense in the league. That's what it is.
Gotta have him.
That's what it is.
It's
like the Commanders. It's like the Commanders without Chase Young. He's the engine. He's the engine that makes the Ferrari go. Without him, he's just a Pontiac in 1998 trying to get through Detroit.
Stop playing.
Montez Sweat would have beef for that one, bro. Sweat a dog, man.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I'll give you a sneak preview. When the one-on-one power rankings come out, I did my top 5 players to watch out for this year. I did it last year. I only hit on one, and that was Daron Payne.
Say his name.
Daron Payne. And the only one that I picked this year was Mr. Sweat. Because you make that face. Sweat is in a contract year. Okay. He wants to get paid there. He's been consistent there. He just like Payne was. He's been just as consistent. Here's the thing. That's what right now is holding him above Chase when it comes to who's going to get paid. That's why Chase didn't get that 5th year picked up, because Montez has been playing so well. Now Chase is going to have to go out there and do his thing, which I know he can. But as long as Montez is healthy and he keeps playing the way he plays, he's going to be the one that gets that money in DC. I'm just saying.
If they don't pay him, it's a team.
Somebody going to pay him, though.
Definitely will.
I know Atlanta. I heard Atlanta might be doing it. Let's go put out the fire.
Fire, fire, burn on. Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 fire. Legacy on fire.
Legacy on fire.
Let's go ahead and finish this bad boy up. Episode 56. We're going to start off with Lamont. Sir, go ahead and put out the fire.
All right. Last week, I talked about the whole no allows thing, right? This week, I'm not going to harp on the same thing, but it's the same type of thing. I don't know what's going on with all this era versus era thing, but we got to let it go. Because there's just no way, unless we can tap into the real COVID games and start playing, all-time teams versus each other. But we got to stop it. Like, appreciate these guys for what they're doing now. Stop trying to take guys off of all-time teams and putting them in today's time. It's just it's foolish and it's ugly, and it's not getting the guys the credit that they deserve. So stop it. The next time you come up with a good one, don't do it and keep it to yourself.
The mindset is disrespectful.
Let the guys stay in their eras. Appreciate them for being great. And that's why greatness is great. So just leave the era thing alone.
All right. James, let's head to you, brother. Go ahead and put out the fire.
Well, I guess my put out the fire this week would have to be about the second most important position in sports, or in football at least, and that's going to be pass rushers. This all season long, we've seen where, there's 3 guys currently holding out because they're pass rushers. They're the top pass rusher on their team, and they haven't been able to secure a long-term contract, and that is Brian Burns, Chris Jones, and Nick Bosa. I mean, these guys are easily the best defensive player on their team. They're all top players on defense in the NFL, and neither one of them has been able to secure a long-term contract as of yet. I don't know what the holdup is. We've seen other defensive players get paid, no problem. We've seen quarterbacks get paid, no problem. Receivers get paid, no problem. Why is it that when it comes to the second most important position on your team, why are we now hesitant when we've seen guys, organizations pay the wrong guy at quarterback and they just swallow that money? They move on, no problem whatsoever. But all of a sudden, when it comes to pass rushers now, we want to wait. We want to hold on. We want to think about it. These guys need to be signed. They need to get their money because they are difference makers for all of their teams. Not to mention, you have guys in the wings waiting, like a Micah Parsons, who's waiting. He's monitoring the situation now to see what's going on. Why are these guys not getting their money? Because if they don't get their money, I can't get my money. So pass rushers, they deserve to be paid. They're the second most important position in football behind quarterback, because since we've glorified the quarterback position so much, the second best position has to be the guy that gets them on the ground. Pass rushers, they should be paid. Pay these guys. They deserve it.
Good point.
Get them guys some money. Get them guys some money. Rob, sir, it is time for you to put out the fire.
So you guys talk about football. You guys remember half and half T back in the day? They still have it, right? You remember half and half T?
Yeah.
Well, this is gonna be a half and half type segment. You know, I'm getting sick and tired of. Listen, man. So people out here bragging, talking about WNBA got 330,000 viewers for the Aces and the what's the other team? Liberty. They played the Liberty. Yes, I'm sorry, the Liberty and the Aces. Of course, they should have 3,000 viewers. They're the best teams in the league. You got 12 teams only, and I keep talking about we got paid women more. Well, last I looked, they don't really get paid that much because they don't bring the numbers in. They have to start bringing the numbers in. And guess what, folks? You have to have more than 12 teams. You got to bring Houston back. You're talking about expansion. You don't even have Houston? Are you kidding me, WNBA? And here's the other beef I got. Why is the WNBA season still going on this September day? Do you remember back in the days when Cynthia Cooper, who's the best player of all time, who doesn't get her credit, the season ended August, 30th, 31st? Before football season. Why are you having WNBA games at 3 o'clock in the afternoon against the NFL? Second thing I must say, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to tell you this because it really bothers me to the core of my soul. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, let me see. We have the Baltimore Orioles. Yes, the Baltimore Orioles are 86-51. Baseball gets no love on the morning shows. Thanks. Doesn't get talked about not one bit. You got the Minnesota Twins who are leading their sorry division. And let me go to the NL before I get to this team. The Braves are up 14.5 games, but you still have a dangerous Philadelphia Phillies team who's going to be very good in the playoffs. The Brewers are consistently good every year. And then you have the Dodgers who are up 14 games. They were down the whole year. And may I end with this one. You mean to tell me, folks, we can't get a mention in the morning show of one of the better divisions in baseball? The Rangers are a game back. The Houston Astros are tied with who? The Seattle Mariners. And no, I'm not blowing smoke up your butt, Darrell, because that's your team. I'm doing this because I'm passionate about baseball. One thing about me, I keep it so real. And what's so real is this great race we got going on right now. And every day I tune in to First Take, or I tune in to Speak, or I tune into Undisputed. I can't get a topic about baseball. I can't get a topic about the Mariners. I keep hearing all this crap about, hey, we got to support the women. You know what they talked about the other day? Stephen A. started talking about the Aces and started talking about him when he was coaching the All-Star game. They have no respect for these women. Stop lying. Stop telling us that you care, because you don't. If you really cared, guess what you would do? You would put these games before at the end of August. If you really care about women's sports, you would help these women in the WFA. For those of you out there who don't know, there are about 1,000 women's football leagues out there.
1,000,
thousands, right? If the NFL came together and organized things, guess what? We can really have women making money in football, making money in these other sports. But guess what? It's all talk. It's all political. I see you. Stop talking about baseball more, damn it. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, you good. This one ain't gonna be on Bowie.
Playoff baseball, maybe.
This one for the two.
Is that good enough for rent for you guys? Is that did I come back and put the fire out enough for you guys tonight?
I
thought he was gonna go college, but it
was Rob Johnson fashion. I think it was pretty
that was a 6-piece spicy, a solid 6-piece
Hold
spicy.
on, Darrell, before you go, what'd you say about college? Oh, that's right, I forgot.
Hey, there you go.
Dion won. Oh, right. That's right. They were what, a 21-point underdog?
That's what I was waiting for.
That's right.
That's what I was waiting for.
I'm glad you reminded me
This is what I paid for.
Because listen, guys, listen. Last time on social media, right? Listen, last time on social media, right? And I'm hearing people saying, "Oh my God, Duke is losing. Duke is beating Clemson." Oh, Clemson, laugh out loud. If you paying attention and did some research, you will see that Duke was 9-4 last year and lost 4 games by 16 points. They got speed. They got a dog in Al Blades from the University of Miami who's on that defense. They got some dogs. What y'all talking about, man? What y'all talking about? What y'all talking about?
Bad QB, man.
Oh yeah, really good quarterback that can run the ball, throw the ball, etc. And then, like I said, getting back to Dion. Oh, what was happening? Oh, Brett Venables and all these guys. Oh, Dion can't coach. Oh, no. Let me get it straight. Black coaches can't coach. All they do is preach, right? All black coaches do is preach and give hoorah speeches. No, Dion brought the X's and O's, and he about to change the game. Prime time, baby. Let's go. I'm done.
That is it.
You talking about eating crow?
I love it.
Dion served some crow this weekend.
Yes, he did. Man, when he got my man in the press conference.
He did not. Oh my God! He said, "You believe
salmon.
that?"
Hey, check this out. For them reporters and the people, I got some salmon, I got some sauce, I got some crackers and some cheese for you. Sit down and eat.
Sauce, good Lord. He raising blood pressure out here, Jesus.
Not South. Hey, man, South be hitting though.
He said he got sauce.
All right, everybody. That is it. Episode 56 of Legacy on Fire. We will be back next week to bring you another episode. We're going to talk about that first week of that NFL season, all that fun stuff. We'll be back for that. First of all, we'd like to thank our Bowie TV listeners for joining us for another episode. Can't wait to bring you some more next week. So really enjoy that. Thank you all for tuning in. For our Legacy Maker people, thank you all for being a part of this. We truly appreciate everybody that support the network. And just to give y'all a heads up, we got a lot going on here. We got a ton coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a busy time between now and April and beyond, but definitely between now and April. So just be on your P's and Q's because we got a lot coming down the pike. All right. Now, with that being said, before we get out of here, Rob, anything you want to say, brother?
I said all I need to say. I think the people heard me. Feel me. I'm on fire.
James, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Hey, man. Rob, I'm going to up it. That went from a 6-piece spicy to a solid 8. So, you brought the fire today. Can't lie. Your college football take, that's what I paid for today.
Oh, Darrell, let everybody talk. Let everybody talk first. I got to say one more thing at the end. Just let everybody talk.
Okay, good.
But, as always, shout out to Bowie Sports TV. Thanks to everybody out there watching and listening. As always, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check out all the great stuff we got going on here at the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
All right, Lamont.
Yeah, I just, I appreciate another week with the best in the business, man. Rob, you definitely brought it, like you said, spicy combo with the biscuit on the side. I'm down. I'm down for it all the time. We bringing it, Darrell. I appreciate your Bowie TV. We appreciate your Legacy Maker Sports fans. We love you, man. Thanks.
Awesome. Rob, what was that last thing you wanted to say, brother, before we get out of here?
Oh yeah. Shout out to Morgan State for beating Richmond. Richmond, thanks for letting us get in. But that was a tough game, and hope you guys do better against Michigan State. And oh, by the way, what happened with that Division I team, Norfolk State?
My man said, "Hail State, Little State." There it is. Got a proud alumni.
What's the year, Rob? What's the year, Rob?
He had to think about it.
2013, 2013. Hail State, you know.
All right, everybody. That is it. Legacy on Fire, episode 56. I'm your man, Darrell Owens, Rob Johnson, James Brown, Lamont Thomas. This has been Legacy Maker Sports Network. We'll be back next week. We got a lot of great shows. Make sure you check us out on all our social media platforms. Until next time.